Hey Deku, how's it going? I'm back for another video from the hotel room in Columbus. Just trying to get these done here before I leave and I have to go out and see my friends. So this is my response to your email about the recipes, and I figured it was better to just videotape this, give you a few tips instead of just respond with an email. This is probably easier to digest. So what you made me think about was more so, I'm gonna give you some tips on recipes, and I have this really cool slideshow that somebody else gave me about just some meals you can prepare that are a lot more wholesome and fresh kind of meals, less cooked kind of thing. They still taste good, don't worry. So I'm gonna review those, just make sure they're not too complicated, and then I'll just send that to you. It's like a little PowerPoint thing. So I've got a couple other recipes I'm going to review, and I'll send you some, but I've got a few tips to keep you going in the meantime and to keep it simple. Okay, so don't feel like this is a lecture, please, because it's not. Okay, this is my response to you. I would have probably put this in the email. It's what I feel needs to be said from me to you. That's because of my thoughts that came up. So just, take it how you want to take it. And I will get you some recipes, but here's a couple things that came to mind when it comes to just feeling better and kind of having more energy throughout the day. These are things that I do, okay? And don't worry, I'll keep it simple and straightforward. So let's talk about ending your day as something I think about. This is getting to bed, going to sleep, and getting enough rest. Some of the things I do and that have worked are the hour or 2 hours before I'm going to bed, I make sure that things are calming down. I sometimes put some relaxing music on. I read. If you don't want to read, just maybe make some tea, preferably over coffee, and I don't think you drink coffee in the evening. So some teas to think about, some that contain St. John's wort, valerian, chamomile, maybe some lemongrass. These are some herbal teas that work really well to calm the body. So get into that relaxive state. Try to avoid the TV. Try to avoid heavy music and just heavy things like full on, so that you start calming the body down. This is what I do, and I just keep doing this for the last 2 hours of my day, and it helps slow me down. I keep the lighting in my place or the hotel dim for that time also. Option is to listen to some of those CD programs I gave you, or something that you have for yourself, or read. Maybe a bit of browsing on the internet, but not much, because it tends to be a little bit full on being on the computer. Emails, Facebook messages. I would avoid that probably towards the end of your evening. And then with your room, I've already seen it, but if there's any way you can get a blind, a thicker blind, to make it more darker, really, more darker, to really make it a dark environment, it really does help. It's worked for me. This is another strange little tip. You don't have to do this, but you can try it. I use earplugs now because I'm weird and crazy, and it works really well. So the dark room, I think, would work for you. Maybe you can make that happen. It'll definitely change your sleeping. And then try earplugs. If you don't like them, don't worry about it. But it's something that's worked for me. It keeps everything silent. I sleep better. And then lastly, with your alarm, try to set it as late as possible, where you still have enough time to get up and do your things, but you're giving yourself a lot more rest time. Really, set it later than you think you need, so you're just sleeping. And if you do wake up, this is maybe 6 a.m. or 5:30 a.m. or 7 a.m., if you wake up close to the time you're waking up, but a little bit before you were meant to, if you're tired enough and you can still sleep, keep sleeping. But if you're not, and you just can't go to bed, get out of bed and start doing stuff. Read, listen to a CD, just do stuff. Don't go back to bed if you've already woken up, because you'll just be tossing and turning. There's no point. This happens to me sometimes. I sometimes wake up at 5 a.m. I just stay awake. I really do. And it works out because you're not tossing and turning, and sometimes I get things done actually during that time. So that's how I end my day, just a couple sleeping tips. And that kind of gives me better sleep. In the morning, how do you start your day? I'm going to get into some food here a little bit. How do you start your day? I start off with water. First thing, I start drinking a lot of water, slowly, but I start hydrating myself again. Another thing you can think about is try herbal tea instead of coffee. I know you like coffee, I know Dad does, but Coffee really isn't that great. It's not going to stimulate you long term if you want that energy level. So just try herbal teas instead. Okay. Another thing to do is smoothies. You can try smoothies. I'll give you a quick tip of one that I make. Try nut milk or soy milk instead of dairy milk. Do not use dairy milk. There's many reasons not to, but try to avoid your intake of dairy as much as possible. I know you've mentioned you don't like soy milk that much. It's just a flavor that doesn't jive for you. I suggest try it for a week, like if you can, each day. You may acquire the taste. I never used to like it myself, now I do. But if you can find some nut milk, use that. Bananas, blueberries. You can soak some goji berries overnight. You've seen me do that when I was at your place. Put those in the blender. If you don't have a blender, get one. With some milk, with some honey, and blend them up. Okay, so that was bananas, blueberries, and goji berries. Now, if you can't get blueberries, just go bananas and goji berries with some honey. You could even put cinnamon in there, you know, some spices. If you have turmeric, maybe put a little bit. Honestly, it's really good for you. Okay, so you can start off your day with a smoothie, and then have your cereal. And once again, try to limit your dairy milk if you can, your cow's milk. Maybe try soy or nut milk with your cereal. Okay, or just go fruit. Just start with some fruit, and that's it, and then go to work. So now, as far as the rest of the day, I recommend you take some snacks for the day. I remember those mandarin oranges that I saw in Hong Kong. You could take those in a bag with you to eat before lunch and after lunch, to kind of snack throughout the day. So another tip is snack throughout the day, and just keep food in your body, you know, every couple hours. And it could be nuts, mandarin oranges, soaked goji berries. Just take a little plastic container with a spoon and take them to work and just munch on those, but soak them overnight so they soften up and they taste really good. Any small things like that that are similar to what I've said, that maybe you can think of, that you like, that you've seen, take them with you, okay? Fruit, nuts, berries, things like that, small snacks. Then, when it comes to lunch, if you can, lunch and dinner, I suggest try more salads, if you can, and sometimes it's difficult, you know, and I'm sure the Chinese eat differently too, and try more vegetables, okay? You can have your meats, I'm not saying stop it, I recommend you reduce it, but try to include more salads and more vegetables, because that's a better water intake for you through the salads and the vegetables, okay? Now you get to the afternoon, keep snacking, small little snacks that you carry with you. And keep the water intake going. You know, maybe buy yourself a small plastic bottle, a metal bottle, and fill it up with water and take it with you to work. Or if you have a fountain there or something, just keep drinking water every few hours, even if you don't feel thirsty. Drink it throughout the day, okay? So now we're getting towards the end of our day. Maybe you have time for a workout, maybe not. But here's my tips on exercising. So a couple times a week, minimum 3, max 5, 3 to 5 times a week. Try to get some exercise in there. And actually, I recommend that you don't go sweat it out at the gym. If you want to go to the gym, go for it. That's fine. But don't sweat it out. That's something I learned a couple years ago, and I stopped doing that now. I don't sweat it out. And once I start getting tired and I'm getting to that point of really sweating it out, I stop. 20 minutes is all you need there. A better thing to do, and it's just a matter of scheduling it, being clever with the scheduling, maybe just putting it off to the weekends, is hiking. And not strenuous hiking. Go to some of these trails that are in Hong Kong on the weekends, maybe even during the day, although that may be tough, or at the end of the day, it may be tough because you're hungry and it's dark. But weekends maybe, and a few times in the week if you can, and go for a hike. Nice and gentle, but just go walking and just get that movement. And replace those with gym visits. The kayaking, I think some of your friends have that option of joining them for kayaking. That's a great exercise, a great thing to do, gets you moving. It's all about just getting the moving going. And then limit the gym if you can, really. You know, try to replace that more with hiking and walking and doing things that are fun. If the gym for you is fun, keep doing it. But if you're finding it's not that fun, you're not going to get the most out of it. You know, I actually canceled my gym membership about 2 years ago, and I don't have one anymore, and I don't do that stuff anymore. I kind of tend to just go for walks and things like that, okay? So I'm lucky with Florida. I can go swimming in the ocean, things like that. I go swimming but I'm just trying to keep it close to what you have available to you. Okay, so once again, quick recap. A bit of hiking, non-strenuous. I know some of your friends are really good at it, and one of your friends is an amazing hiker or something like that. You know, you don't have to get to that level. You know, you'll get there eventually if you keep it up. But just start slow and calm and make it fun. A bit of kayaking and things like that. Maybe go wakeboarding again, just things like that. Those are like luxury things though, so I'd keep it down to just moving and walking. Alright, enough said. And I'm also trying to keep this not very serious, because I tend to get serious. When it comes to alcohol, this is another thing that can really zap people's energy. And what I've come to now with me is I do a 2-drink limit in the evenings when I go out. Last night we all partied here in town, and I did 2 drinks, and it worked. And I still had fun. So alcohol also tends to give you less good sleep. You know, you don't get great sleep when you've drunk alcohol and you try to sleep. It just doesn't work, and it's scientifically proven. But just limit the intake as much as you can. I'm not saying stop. Please go out, have fun, enjoy it with your friends, but just limit your intake from what you'd usually drink. And just have the fun without having those extra drinks, even if your friends are. Because it does zap the energy out of you the next day, believe it or not. And I've found that with me. So just try to reduce that just a little bit and experiment with that, see what happens, and just keep it consistent and see what happens after 2 weeks of just really reducing your drinking. When you go out, keep going out, but when you go out, reduce it by 3 drinks, less than you usually would. Try that for 2 weeks, see what happens. With all these other things together, you may see a change. Okay. So my last point then is, you know, it may seem like all these things I've told you are just going to zap the fun out of life. It seems that way initially. What I've found actually is doing these things, just small little things together, the water, the sleep habits, getting the movement and walking and hiking, small snacks throughout the day, still going out, still having fun, still drinking alcohol, but just reducing it for longer time. I found that those things actually made me more happier. I was actually feeling better after about a month or so. Okay, so it sounds like it may change your life and make it too serious, possibly boring. I found the opposite personally. Of course, I encourage you to just try it out and see how you feel. Okay, so recipes are coming. I'm looking at some. I hope these were a few tips with food to help you out a little bit. And I just felt the need to add a few more things because the food on its own won't change how you feel. It's just going to be a combination of these other things. I understand work is difficult right now. I understand it can be a little bit boring and mundane and tough. But if you keep some of these things I said in mind while you're going through this period of working at Paladone in a difficult environment, it should help just balance you out a little bit more and just help you feel better. And I really want you to feel better. You know, I really hope you can get to that place. I know you can. Okay, so that's all I have. Didn't want to make it too long. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll talk to you soon. Love you.